Welcome to another episode of last week's Comics Today. I have 10 books here, although I'm told I didn't get the best issue of the week, which is the new #1 for Plastic. I didn't read the first one. I didn't grab the second. Maybe next week. I don't know. But we're going to start this week with Ain't No Grave, issue 2, and it's great. The theme is supposedly anger, and none of that comes through. This is one long chase scene. Well, it's actually 2 chase scenes. There's multiple shootouts. It's action-packed. There's a lot going on here. The art looks gorgeous. It's well done. It just doesn't stay on theme. And given that the first one started with denial, I'm going to guess that issue 3 is bargaining for depression and then acceptance. But yeah, this one, anger doesn't come through. If anything, this is desperation. So, this is a flashback scene. She is pregnant at this point. She's robbing a train, and things don't go well. But she's made it to the afterlife. That's what's going on here. She's trying to confront death, to buy herself more time, to stay with her family, specifically her daughter. But this thing happens. Look at this. Amazing. Fantastic. This, I feel like, should have been a page turn, but whatever. Instead, we get this nice scene. It's a great issue. It just, the theme, if it's supposed to be anger, it doesn't come through. So a few weeks back, I mentioned that there was, I think, 5 or 6 new #1s that I was looking forward to, and I had no idea. This is one of those, and I will not be continuing with this. So I liked Greg Pak well enough when he was doing Hulk to try new stuff whenever he, to try his stuff whenever he gets on something new. And I liked well enough Mech Cadet. I should have gotten more of that, and I didn't. This feels like a lecture. It definitely has a message it's trying to get across. The art is okay. I don't really find it compelling, and the writing, like I said, it feels like a lecture. I don't... If I'm going to be lectured at, do it in a more interesting way. This, no. But, the art is, I said it's okay. The character designs are good. It's just the like panel selection. It's all very medium shot at eye level. Like there's no dynamic anything in this. This might be the most dynamic shots in the whole thing. It's like I'm just not getting any more of that. This, however, also has a message it's trying to convey, and it's doing a much better job of it. I'm more interested in the action and the characters, and they're jumping out a window on page 1. So this is these two, brother and sister, and we get to more information. It's still pretty vague as far as who they are and sort of the setup of the world. But we saw the origin story back in issue 1. It's almost a Superman-ish story, except extra-dimensional with a religious tinge to everything. She shows up. She showed up at the end of the previous issue, and here she's wrecking house, really. And let me show you. So these two, I think, are the Ma and Pa Kent equivalent. I haven't gotten confirmation on that. I haven't gone back to that first issue, but I think that's who they are now, basically sitting at the head of this church. The most interesting thing here is the conversation. There's a lot of text boxes where it is her thinking things through. She's adding additional information. But the conversation between these two, I think, some of the most interesting, most telling stuff. They're saying that they're related, and that there are other brothers and sisters out there. So they are fighting. She's inside. She's on the outside, fighting against. It's just really well done, and this guy has some great scenes. It's exceptionally well done. This is issue 4. I kind of thought it was 3. Anyway, It's exceptionally well done. I don't know how long the series is intended to go, but it's incredible. Highly recommended. Monsters Are My Business, issue 3. I loved issue 1. Issue 2 was not as highly loved. Issue 3 is mostly exposition heavy. It's kind of moving pieces into place before the finale, and it's okay. There are some great elements here, like this koala with a flamethrower. It's amazing. But not, honestly, that much happens. We get a crowd fight where she's throwing what looks like hot dogs, but she's talking about pickles. Anyway, it's, maybe those are carrots? I don't know. But, yeah, it was an amazing first issue, and now I'm just like, it's okay. There's still stuff, I'm still interested, but it's in the side stuff, it's in the backstory, not so much what's happening currently. It should end well, because I'll just show you the last page here. This thing comes out, and look at that. But, yeah, it's just not as... It was such a great first issue, and I didn't expect that to be the peak, but, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with issue 4 before I tell you whether or not to buy the trade. Also, in the exposition department is Witcher. We get this opening sequence with this guy who claims to own the estate, giving a lengthy history of both family and the house before Geralt just says, alright, I'll do a job for you, and if you just go away afterward. And then it's the execution of the job, and of course things go wrong, because things always go wrong. Or else we wouldn't have the rest of the story. Yennefer is naked, walking around the house for a page, which is weird. I think I already skipped past it. But, it's alright. It's alright. That's about all I could say. It's solidly alright. I hope the series picks up. I think this is a 5-issue series. We'll see what happens. At the moment, it's alright. Transformers issue 9, and I think this issue displays the difference between Danny Warren Johnson and Jorge Corona. Because there are still wrestling moves executed by Transformers in this by, I should say, Cybertronians, but it doesn't have quite the same oomph as when Johnson does it. So, this is a heavy Shockwave issue. It's phenomenal. It's great. I don't understand how so many other characters show up. We do get some shrinkage, but there's a lot of character stuff in this, and it's somewhat devastating, but boot to the face, that's amazing. And we get, let me show you, well, first I'll show you this, because that's awesome. Right, but then we've got Shockwave lifting up Optimus. There's a lot of talk between Shockwave and Optimus before this, and like, yes, it looks great. It's funny. It's awesome. Except, I don't know. I think Johnson would have drawn the sequence better. I still love Corona. It's just, as far as execution of wrestling moves, Johnson's going to be the superior artist in that department. Everything else looks great. I'm just talking about wrestling moves. So, I said a bunch of other characters show up. And we get... Poor Jetfire. Like, the guy's already wrecked. He can't transform at the moment. Now he loses a wing. Like, does he get left behind in this? There are people left behind in this, and it's not great. And Shockwave's talking about running experiments. But we get some human stuff, and Spike gets some bad news. And I will say, I've thought really since he got shot that all of this was leading towards Headmasters, and I still believe that. It hasn't made really any progress since that. There's a bunch of stuff happening also with Astrotrain and Spike. This conversation that happens between them is very strange. I don't fully understand what's going on there. We get Alita 1 and this wreck that she's hauling around. We get Combaticons, and one of them gets cut in half. Like, there's a lot happening. There's a bunch of additional characters being introduced. Where was... Including out of nowhere, this guy, I'm just like, where did he come? Like, the other guys walked through a bridge, I understand that, but him, I have no idea where he came from. Unless I'm just wrong once again, and he's been there since issue 1. Look. The issue's great, but there's a lot of change happening, and it might be happening too fast for me. However, Shockwave's absolutely brilliant in this. I'm weirded out, but loving Astro Train as this, like, intellectual brute. I don't know what's going on there. Alita 1 brought that carcass through. I am still holding out that it's Ultra Magnus, but we'll probably find out next issue, and Optimus makes a poor decision. But it's great. This is another one of those new number ones that I was looking forward to, and I will not be getting any more of this. This is issue 1 of 4, and I will show you... So all of this whole opening sequence, we got 3 pages so far, 5 I think. Yeah, it's the first 5 pages are just the Wikipedia Cliff's Notes summary of 400 years of history. It's kind of crazy. Also, I don't know why, like, ages are shown sometimes. It actually makes, I'm going to say something worse, because there's this lady who's supposedly 37, but she talks like she's in junior high. And she's just, like, emotionally insecure. She's talking about not fitting in, and I'm like, are you having trouble with your classmates fitting in? Like, this whole scene I wish didn't exist. This issue I wish would have started on page, what is this, 6? It should have started here, gotten to the fight, shown some action, and all of this backstory stuff should have been released slowly, if at all. There's a phrase that I particularly enjoy. I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long letter instead. And I try to avoid calling myself a writer. I have done some writing, but I absolutely understand the sentiment of that statement, of that claim. And this feels like someone writing a long letter because they didn't know how to write a short one. There's a whole lot of words here, and less would have been more in this case. But the art looks great. Art's phenomenal. The story, I don't care about any of this. Torpedo, 1972, issue 4. So this is the end of kind of a story arc. It's the end of Riso's involvement, which is one of the reasons that I got the first issue, but also I'd seen Torpedo stuff before and I was interested. So now that I'm at the end of an arc, basically, because next issue, Leandro Fernandez takes over. Where it's listed here somewhere. Leandro Fernandez takes over, who also is drawing Kryptonian Age, but this was produced years ago, so it makes sense. Anyway, we get to the end of the arc, and I realize that there's no, like, actual through line through the whole thing. There's no kind of wrap up to anything. It's just 4 issues of misadventures with 2 assholes, and it's not enough for me. I think this is where I'm going to bow out and not get any more, because really reading Torpedo makes me feel dirty, like I need a shower afterward. He's such an asshole. He does terrible things to everyone around him, and it would have been better to me if you know, if there were an actual story over the course of 4 issues and not just sort of random crimes that he commits. So it's nice to look at. There are some nice moments in the writing, however, it overall doesn't... I keep flipping through this, and there's a bunch of naked people in it, and Dan's probably going to blur a bunch of it. But there's no cohesive, there's nothing tying it together, and for me, it's just not worth continuing in that case. The Weatherman, issue 6. Now, this is the almost conclusion. There's one issue to go, but this is really where things wrap up. There's a huge fight scene in this. It's extremely satisfying. As someone that has been dealing with... Where is he? This fucker. Now for almost 3 series. Oh my god, it's so satisfying. It's extremely satisfying. It's action heavy. There's a bunch of emotional stuff that happens here too. It's all around excellent, and I think next issue is... I hope the satisfaction continues, but we also get a bit of relief because the fate of one character is seemingly known, but I'm going to say it's a question mark until we actually see it, until someone says it. So it's amazing. It's probably going to be, it's almost certainly pick of the week out of this stack. But the Weatherman, issue 6. Berg, if you are taking notes, get this trade when it comes out. Lastly, I have the Batman Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age, which is a obnoxious title. But I grabbed the Catwoman variant cover, and it turns out I was correct to do so, because Batman only shows up for 5 pages at the end. This is otherwise a straight-up Catwoman issue with a little bit of the Superman origin story here in the beginning. I'm sure something more will happen with this, but not this issue. So it's just these couple of intro pages. We, of course, have a Ma and Pa Kent. Whatever. But once we get to the city, this gives me flashbacks to, honestly, Mignola drawing Baffert and the Grey Mouse are just, I got to, like, issue, they're page 5 or 6, and the way that the city was drawn was just gorgeous. So, I said that this is the guy who's about to take over drawing Torpedo, and there is something very Riso-ish, Riso-esque about his drawing, which I enjoy, but it looks great. As I said, all of this is Catwoman stuff. Batman shows up for 5 pages at the end, and then the transition from, like, over to him is weird and abrupt, and I'm like, well, I hope, at this point, I'm invested in Catwoman, and Batman interrupts seemingly his own title, and then there's a last page, and I'm like, yeah, well, obviously, that's going to happen too. It's good, I'm going to keep going, but it's structurally strange. I'll just say that. So that is everything that I got this week. I've already declared Weatherman Pick of the Week. This is great. I do recommend it. It's a 12-issue series, so that's a long haul. I'd say disappointed by that, but it's fine. I get a lot of first issues, and I don't expect all of them to be winners. Transformers is great. It's, like I said, possibly changing too quickly. It was the same characters. It was very small Autobot and Decepticon teams for a number of issues, and now they're just like throwing a bunch of new characters at it, and it's abrupt is what I'll say. Weatherman, though, is pick of the week. It's phenomenal. I loved it. It's possibly not as good as Plastic, but I guess that's on me. So that is everything that I got this week. As always, I get my books from a local comic shop. If you don't know where yours is, you can use this URL to find the one closest to you. Thanks for watching.